Well, we're back, and it's actually 30 rings. I was right. How about that?
Son of a bitch. I owe you nothing.
Anyway, what you actually need to do to to open up that wall is go in here and break this one pallet, because that's totally going to be obvious from outside the door.
Well, when you walk forward, then you'll see it.
When you walk forward, then you'll see it, but you probably tried a couple things and looked around out here first.
Oh no, you spent 20 seconds looking for things and didn't find it, and then found it after.
Lewis, it's a hidden room! What's the point if the fucking entrance is like right there in front of you?
Hey, I jumped into a pool of lava looking around for other ways to get in there, so...
See? Lewis, if the entrance was obvious, we wouldn't have had an amazing end to the last part, so, you know.
A glowing green button hidden under a pallet is a lot less interesting than a side platforming area where you'd have to jump on cogs to get around there. So, you know, I honestly would have preferred it if my standard platforming sensibilities had been right. Because that cog, that slow-moving, really big, thick cog, does look like something that you should be able to run around on. There are plenty of games with level design elements exactly like that, actually.
I like how the characters are describing an adventure that sounds way more fun than the one we were just
Yeah,
on.
I know!
we were out there playing a Sonic game, and what were you playing, Rayman 3?
It was called Sonic Generations, and it was awesome!
Oh, tell me more, Amy.
Oh, dear.
They've just met their biggest fan.
Shut up, Gareth!
Good job, Gareth.
You know, I just knew, without having to think about it, that this was going to trigger a speed section. But what I wasn't expecting was the giant worm.
I like this cutscene.
The sleeper has awakened!
I always turn off the subtitles when I play these games. So when that section happened, I legit thought Sonic was going, oh shit!
The edge has returned.
Ow, the edge boom.
They need to do what the Spy Kids movies always do. The Spy Kids movies always have a throwaway line where they're like, shiitake mushrooms.
Wait, hold on. Somebody other than me watched the Spy Kids movies?
I saw the third one in theaters.
I saw the first one.
I've seen the first three.
No, the third one, the first two are the only ones you need to watch. The third one's kind of awful.
It was in 3D. And Sylvester Stallone was a bad guy.
The third one is amazingly terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's set in a video game, and it's clear Robert Rodriguez has maybe played one video game in his life.
Trust me, I didn't go see the third film in theaters because I was looking for a masterpiece Oscar-winning performance. I watched it because Sylvester Stallone was a bad guy, and I knew that couldn't be good.
Wait, okay, so then why can't you play Sonic Boom? Not because you're expecting an award-winning performance, but because, oh look, there's robots and you can beat them up.
Because the movie ticket was only $4. It was a Tuesday matinee.
Okay, guys, I want to ask a question. When did we walk into Mass Effect? Because this looks like a boss for Mass Effect 3 or something.
When the fan blew us out the door, that's when we did.
This is the only time where you get the massive enemies that the back of the box promises. But it looks so out of place. It looks like something out of The Force Unleashed or Mass Effect. Or where did this come from?
Lyric made it.
I actually have a question. I want to know, like, you know, in the very first trailer, when the reveal trailer, they had that section where they all fall down and like land in water, and they're like, look, a secret room. Like that section isn't in this game.
You want to know what also isn't in the game? The scene where Styx is talking to everybody and Shadow's just kind of standing there.
Yeah, it is. It's in the 3DS version.
That's in Shattered Crystal.
Oh.
Yeah. Shattered Crystal has two kinds of cutscenes. The kind of cutscenes where you got 3D models talking with a dialogue box, and, you know, FMV scenes that are done with, like, in-game graphics and stuff.
Well, no, Shattered Crystal has actual CG.
Yeah.
Like, it has 3 CG cutscenes.
It's CG that looks like it's in-game graphics from this game, I guess I should say.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It looked like a cutscene from Rise of Lyric when I saw it in the trailer. So,
it's like
okay.
The only thing that really looks any different to me is Lyric's face. Just the way his face animates looks different than the way it animates in this version. It looks worse, if I'm honest. I'm not really sure how to describe it.
I completely forgot about that scene in the trailer, too, because I remember Sonic landed the same way he does in Unleashed and in Black Knight, where he lands
he
head first.
face plants.
I can't believe I was gone.
A secret room.
He does it in Adventure too when he lands in the after falling off of the egg carrier. He lands in the sand face planting.
What he does is that he lands on his face and bounces up like a rubber ball.
You're
and
not
then-
who I'm looking for.
And
Yes.
then
Well, no,
shakes
that's
himself
in the
off.
first fall. I think Lewis is talking about when he chases Eggman off the egg carrier.
Oh yeah. I was talking about when he landed like in the sand.
Yeah.
So it's a really kind of subtle running gag now that I think about it.
He didn't just faceplant that time. He got half buried with the impact. Also, the falling sound effect was so 8-bit.
I know, it's just like a fucking Atari game. It's so out of place.
Oh
Do you think-
man, this boss is terrible, man. We can't even talk about the mechanics of it. It's just throwing
Throw
robots into his
things. You
mouth.
throw things and you hope you hit it.
This is a common problem I have in video games whenever they have like giant enemies.
They're
Well, no,
lame.
well, exactly. It's like if this robot, why does this robot just keep smashing the ground until it kills them all? No, it's like I'm gonna suck up stuff.
What's the point of all this processing power going into animating this fucking huge enemy with so many bajillion polygons in it if the enemy isn't even interesting to fight?
It's like a fucking Michael Bay Transformer. It's Dicktron, run!
He would have won if they just told the small robots to stop coming out.
Pretty much.
Let's get him!
Remix!
That wasn't an editing mistake. That was actually a glitch in the game. Sometimes when this game has problems loading itself, what it'll do is it'll stutter, exactly like a PC game. It's the kind of loading problem that you don't often see in console games. Normally, console games will either just have really long load times or they'll have slowdown.
It's like the equivalent of playing a PC game and you accidentally hit the Windows key.
Yeah,
And it just stutter.
and the CPU has trouble switching.
Yeah.
Also, you know, this is a random time to mention this, but I like Lyric's design because when you look at it, you can tell he's actually just a snake. And the arms, the shoulders, everything else is just robot.
He's a reptilian Captain Olimar.
Wow.
I actually like Lyric's voice actor. I forget who he is, but I think his voice acting's pretty decent.
He's just not given anything interesting to do, I think, is more the
He has one line. I like that one line. It's like, they made me sick, and now I hate my life.
He has good delivery, at least. I like his voice, if not his character much.
I'm not sure how I feel about Eggman being this sycophantic, like, good news, Lyric, we may have killed Sonic, because, like, he's supposed to be the big bad, and he's, like, my favorite character, and I don't know.
Eggman's #1 fan has been disappointed.
Well, it's mostly just because he's afraid of... I think he's just mostly afraid of Lyric at this point.
Yeah, I guess, but...
I like how the captain, when you get out of the level, talks to you as if you hadn't gone in yet. We've already blown up the boat. Sorry, dude.
How did we get back then if we blew up the boat?
Whoop.
I fell through the elevator, and I did that my first playthrough, too.
Now, there's a fast travel option in the menu, but you can only speed back to old levels that way, right? You can't go
Yes.
You can't go to... I think fast traveling to specific spots on the hub world would have been... well, I like being able to go back to old levels, too, if you...
Or I could just run faster.
No, or... You could,
Johnny, this isn't some kind of Sonic game. What are you talking about?
Look, because I was agreeing with Ted when we commented earlier about how being unable, like having the ability to run fast in the levels wouldn't mean much of a difference because again the levels are already compact. Hub worlds are a different story, so fuck it. Just
Boost pad away!
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of playing as Silver the Hedgehog in Sonic 06, and then you get to the forest area.
Oh my god, no.
at least it's not flat. There's stuff to jump on.
It's not nearly as torturous, but it's the same general principle. You know, the areas are large, so you feel like you should be able to run faster than you are.
Oh, they didn't make the Miley Cyrus reference, thank God.
that's criteria.
Where did they make that wrecking ball from? That wrecking ball just came out of nowhere.
They made it out of 4,000 robot bits, which apparently is enough to...
Ironically, the wrecking ball did come in like a wrecking ball. Fuck you, Ted.
Why do we even have you around?
Anyway, this area has exactly one princess crown and a lot of rings.
Yeah, see, I like those types of areas too, Knuckles. Glad we're on the same page.
Sounds like my sex life.
What sex life?
How soon we forget, Ted. I see how it is.
Being married does not constitute. Oh, wait. Never mind. Sorry. Complete wrong joke.
Are we done yet?
I don't know.
We only have 10 more parts to go.
Shit!
That's not that bad. You guys are wimps.
I was being slightly inefficient there because I remembered the wrecking ball thing that I needed to repair, but I also forgot that I would be doing a side quest that would have taken me back in that general direction anyway. I'm actually going to head to the area where the next level is and then realize, oh, there's a side quest NPC here. Now I'm going to have to go find those flower things we mentioned earlier.
Oh, I didn't do that one. I kind of gave up on that one.
Well, they're pretty easy to find.
I didn't do that one, and I didn't do the one where you have to find the guy's brother. Like, I didn't even know where to start for that. So I was...
Oh, that it's in the sea urchin area, off to the side. It's the second Riptide boat area, and it's also the worst Riptide boat area.
Ooh. Oh wait, so is it kind of like the turtle where you find him in one of the levels then?
Yeah.
What's actually happening? Well, actually, there's no point in me going into it now. We'll see it, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about it during the Riptide section. Also, this character looks like something out of a Disney cartoon, like even more so than the rest of the characters. Just the way...
Don't insult Disney. This looks like it's from DreamWorks.
It's just the way the character is designed. The body and head proportions are, like, way different than...
I would say Merry Melodies. You know, Looney Tunes, Tex Avery, all that.
Why'd you call it Merry Melodies? Why not Looney Tunes?
It's like... I was like, you know, the other characters were always inspired by that cartoon art style to begin with, but at the same time, their heads weren't so massive compared to the rest of their bodies.
I can answer that question for you, Ted, because every time I tune into Cartoon Network, late at night to watch Looney Tunes, every skit will be going with Merry Melodies. So that name always popped into my head first before Looney Tunes.
Huh.
Hipster.
Well, Looney Tunes covers a broad range of things, including the new Looney Tunes stuff, which was basically the Sonic Boom of the franchise.
Yeah, people were already drawing parallels to Lunatics when Sonic Boom was initially revealed.
Wait, there's a Looney Tunes show called Lunatics?
Lunatics Unleashed.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, this is you see, this is what happens when I don't watch Cartoon Network as a 20-year-old.
No, Ted, this show was like 10 years ago, man.
Oh, okay. Well, this is. Shut up.
Yeah, if you want to get an idea of what that was, it's like, imagine the Looney Tunes if you tried to make them hip and cool, except it's even more jarring than this, because Sonic was already hip and cool in his attitude to begin with.
No, wait, are we talking hip and cool, or quote-unquote hip and quote-unquote cool, like all them young kids are doing today?
How do you do, fellow kids?
With sarcastic air quotes.
No,
Massive
Ted, did you
sarcastic
ever
air quotes.
see the Mighty Ducks cartoon, where instead of a bunch of kids playing hockey, it was a bunch of intergalactic crime-fighting ducks?
I saw the posters for the cartoon, or...
Imagine that, but with Looney Tune characters. Although it's more like... It's like Looney Tune approximation. So you have like a Bugs Bunny stand-in, like a Roadrunner stand-in. It's not actually Bugs, Daffy, and whatnot. But it's all terrible.
It was baffling. I showed that to my grandmother when it was on TV once, and she didn't know what the hell to make of that.
I wouldn't either. And I'm not even past my...
She's like, what happened to Bugs Bunny?
I don't know, Grandma. I don't know.
Stop, they're already dead.
No one knows for sure, Grandma Clement.
It's just Clement with a wig.
He's Norman Bates in his own grandmother.
And glasses. Don't forget the glasses.
Anyway, this particular mission is where I started to realize how annoying the map was, because in order to figure out which way I was facing to orient myself, with everything else that was going on in the map, I needed to actually move and then double check the map and see which direction the blip on the map moved.
Yep, yeah, so terrible.
It's like, you know, every other game with a map function like this would at least have an arrow on the map to tell you which way your character was facing.
Just to be safe, you do have to go through that ring to activate the Hydro Dash. So in an
Yeah.
area like this where you can go outside the ring and figured you can just run on water, you'll only be met with gurgling noises instead.
Don't even try it as Amy or Knuckles, because they just can't play. They just plain can't Hydro Dash.
Why can't they Hydro Dash?
I don't know. Only Sonic and Tails can. It's a mystery
So
to
what
everyone.
the hell are Amy and Knuckles doing?
Drowning apparently, because
Waiting to teleport.
because there are sections where you have to Hydro Dash in the hub world to get to a new area. In fact, we're going to be going through one to get to Bygone Island. And in the boss area with Eggman and Knuckles, Amy and Knuckles, with Eggman and Lyric,
Eggman
sorry.
and Knuckles. Eggman, Knuckles turned straighter. That's the big plot point. Otherwise, of Lyric.
Well, it is in the comic.
Yeah, I was thinking of the comic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's
How many
my-
continuities of Boom are there?
Several.
But you know, in that area, Amy and Knuckles are in on a side path. But in the area you use to get to that area, you're just hydro dashing, and Amy and Knuckles are nowhere to be seen. How are they following you? You don't know. They just respawn when you get to the end. As another infuriating example of putting a treasure chest behind the collectible, so that the first time you did this was probably the fourth one you picked up, if you were going in sequence. And then I don't even know how those robots exploded.
You dragged it into the rock.
They couldn't take it anymore.
And then what winds up happening is you pick up the plant without seeing the chest there, and then you see the chest as the screen fades black and teleports you back to the hospital, which is all the way on the other side of the hub world.
This music is so out of place for what's going on screen.
Yeah, unlike the levels, the hub worlds never change their music for battle scenes.
No, they don't change it for. I think the level with all of the sea urchin people you were talking about, they don't change the music ever for that one either.
No, it's really herky-jerky with the music in Bygone Alley. Like, you could be in the... like Bygone Alley. Bygone Island.
Yeah.
You're not buying your wands there, John.
I was thinking of Harry Potter for some fucking reason. I don't know why. What the hell was I saying?
Diagonally.
Whatever.
Did you cut, or did you just literally teleport to the other island?
No, I actually forgot this happened. I was fighting, and then I tried to switch characters, but somehow Amy was way over back on the other side of the hub world for no reason whatsoever. And then once I switched to her, all of my other characters spawned next to her. And look at the combo meter. It's not going away. It's perpetually stuck on 12 hits B rank. Get used to that, because it's going to be there for a while before it finally decides to go away.
I'm
Really
sorry,
gonna
Lewis.
redesign the game.
Your grade point average will always be a 3.0.
Don't I know it?
You've got the B.
You know what music should have been in this game? The dubstep music from the trailers.
Oh, look at that. They did it again. No, I kicked the treasure chest just as it stopped me, and I didn't open it or get the... Thanks, game.
Feel good, brown.
It takes so long to fade in and fade out, too, and I'm like, where am I? The camera's pointed straight at the ground. Oh, I'm outside the hospital. Duh.
At least there's only one load time for each area, though. Like, you know, you do get that stuttery thing that happens whenever you go to a different area of the hub world. That's annoying.
The second hub world specifically, the wilderness area, doesn't ever actually do that.
Yeah, but it, you know, at the very, like, the load times to load up each individual area are pretty lengthy, but at least there's only one of them, which is nice. Unlike some other games I could mention, which load up like 6 times in each individual stage. Ahem.
Yeah, Lost World.
This is the buggiest area in the game that we're about to go through right now. First, we need to go through a speed section, which is standard enough. I kind of missed a princess crown over there, but oh well.
This is the area where I recreated the spider hog glitch from Sonic 06.
You can just stop on like the top of the loop.
Well, what
Yeah.
I did was I was walking because like I wanted to slow down and collect the trinkets because this was after my first playthrough. And I ended up slow walking as I was going up a loop-de-loop, and I noticed Sonic was slow walking up it and up it and up it. He goes to the ceiling. I'm like, oh boy, we're doing it again. And Sonic was walking on the top ceiling of the loop-de-loop before he would get to the bounce pad and stuff. And I was just like, oh boy, I did it again.
Yeah, I think that this game does something no other Sonic game has ever done, and that's actually following Sonic through the loop, like behind the back, which is kind of nauseating, actually.
I thought that was actually a pretty, I agree with you that the speed sections are kind of wonky, but I thought that was actually a really cool moment.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not even just a spectacle thing, because while they're following you through the loop, you still have obstacles and stuff to sidestep around, so it's also gameplay. But
It is because I think since SA1, the loops have become just automated. So I'll give them that.
Glitch! These ramps in these hydro dashing sections always force me to one side.
Always.
Always, yeah. Every single one of them.
He was being sarcastic.
I don't know
making fun
why
of you.
in this particular section. You know what? Sarcasm or not, I'm past caring because this section is the most. This is the most infuriating section to explore for collectibles because you have to go through the hydro dashing sections like 3 times because you're going to miss stuff. But when you go through the hydro dashing sections, you have to go up the ramps to get past areas. Because there's no other way to go through them.
There was at one point, I think it was the second playthrough before I decided to start recording for the review, where I wanted to, just for the principle of the thing, get the crowns that are on those mine carts as you're hydro dashing. So I stopped and went backwards, and I could have swear to fucking God the mine carts also went in reverse. So they went upwards towards the mine shaft. I was like, really?
Okay, this is actually where we need to stop to get to the next area. But here's the thing that happened to me on my first playthrough, and I'm doing this on purpose to emulate it again. Oh look, a button. It's not pressing for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I switched to another character. Come on. And it works then.
What the?
Alright, but you think this is going to lead to a side area. No, it leads to a speed section taking you all the way back to the start, and once you're on it, you have to ride the whole thing to the end.
This happened to me as well. This was bullshit.
It's like Lewis is like, no, go back. I don't want to go through this.
I'm desperately trying to go back, but that hill is where it forces you forward. So... And you can't jump off the side of a speed passage either. So it's not even like I could suicide and go back to my last checkpoint. Well, I suppose I could if I ran into enough stuff to get rid of all my rings. But
There's probably a checkpoint at the beginning of the speed section, so.
probably, but it doesn't matter because even if I were to intentionally run into everything, I'm not even sure I would run into enough stuff to get rid of all my rings.
It's like, in terms of collectathon kind of games, Banjo-Kazooie, this ain't.
This game is designed in such an infuriating way when it comes to going back and collecting things you missed.
Well, in Banjo-Kazooie, all of the items had a purpose, so you wanted to, and the whole game was about finding them. Here, it's a linear platforming game with stuff to find on the way.
Yeah, I'm not going through another speed section, so I'm going to go through the other Hydro Dash section. That one only forced me a bit to the left. I'm surprised. Whoa! Okay. Still glitchy.
If only I just felt the upgrades meant more to, exemplify the character's abilities. Like, yeah, okay, so like.
Even the Sonic Adventure games had more interesting upgrades. If you're gonna get technical about it.
Yeah. We're wondering. It could have been. It could have been even like restoring old abilities that characters had in previous games. Like Knuckles can't glide now, but maybe get some
upgrade,
some scrap metal later and get some crowns. You can get a glide. Maybe you can get a huff. Sly Cooper did that right, from what I've seen. Well, he played the game, and
Unfortunately, the Sly Cooper developers were on the other side of the.
Well, for the fourth game anyway, it was Sucker Punch that developed the first 3 games.
Yeah, yeah. The 3DS developers had to do with Sly Cooper 4, though, right?
Yeah, Thieves of Time.
Also, I like how Sonic was, like, unbalancing and really uncertain, because this is obviously the first time he stood on top of a biplane. I thought that was a nice detail, actually.